In the heart of northern Minnesota, the forest stretches as far as the eye can see. But in this untamed, untouched wilderness lies a threat.
Everything's just ready to burn.
A perfect storm.
We're already starting drier than normal.
Generally, this time of year, this would be completely flooded.
There's a lot of standing, dead, diseased trees.
All of that is pointing to a catastrophic wildfire.
And if a fire breaks out, who will be there to put it out?
We're not getting people as easily as we used to.
It is a hard job.
It's the best job that I ever had, but I'm really glad that I'm not doing it right now.
In the halls of Minnesota North College, students trade their books for boots, their homework for hard hats.
Pass those on down, please.
Today's assignment for this wildland fire control and management class, a prescribed burn.
This is a really excellent day to be doing a burn.
The plan? Set fire to 5 acres of private land outside of Ely.
I'd say it's 90% grass.
Days like this are special for instructor Ryan Miller. He worked for the U.S. Forest Service for a decade as a wildland firefighter. Miller spent time on the front lines of some of the largest wildfires in the country.
It's the best job that I ever had.
A job he now trains students to do.
And tighten it down, Raven.
Miller says wildland firefighters are in high demand, especially in Minnesota.
The woods are really setting up for what I would call a serious wildfire here in the next couple years.
The forest and surrounding land are dry after a mild winter.
This winter, we had very little amount of snow.
James Devine owns the property the students are burning. This dried grass field, a stark contrast to what it looked like in April last year.
Generally, this time of year, this would be completely flooded. I've had my boys down in here with their boats and stuff like that, paddling around.
Devine's land sits in the heart of the Superior National Forest, nearly 2.2 million acres in Minnesota's Arrowhead, managed by the U.S. Forest Service.
We could be in for a really tough season.
Nicole Selmer is a fire prevention technician. She says a small caterpillar, the spruce budworm, slowly tore through the land in the last decade, leaving behind dead trees that now cover the forest floor. That outbreak fueled a catastrophic wildfire in 2021.
The strong winds have...
We were on the ground as the Greenwood fire burned tens of thousands of acres and dozens of structures, including cabins.
It occurred in an area that was really dry. There was a lot of fuel loading.
But in the last 3 years, data from the Forest Service shows crews have only cleared about 60,000 acres of brush and trees, less than 3% of the total forest footprint.
You can prepare as much as you can, but when you have you have a lot of fuel loading on the ground, even though you've prepared really well, it's really, you're at the mercy of the local conditions.
Conditions these students dealt with during the prescribed burn.
You can see videos, you can learn about it in the classroom, but it's a lot different experience which you're actually like hands-on on the ground.
The wind is being pretty swirly today. It's pushed fire over our line a little bit.
Miller says the shifting winds, the really dry conditions from the drought we've been experiencing, put these students in a situation that they may face when they're actually out fighting wildfires.
You want me to burn back here, Steve?
The fire would be slowly burning like it should, and then all of a sudden it would switch and burn right at you.
When Chris Ryan graduates in May, he'll be a certified wildland firefighter, ready to head to the front lines.
This summer, actually, I'm signed on as a smoke chaser with the DNR.
Put fire right close to that.
But when asked if he's considering that as a career,
The only issue with firefighting is most of it is seasonal, but I do like the idea of traveling around and fighting fire. I think it'd be cool. It's kind of on the back burner right now.
Miller says each year only about 5 of his students go on to become professional wildland firefighters.
Okay, we're going to run down there and start burning out.
The U.S. Forest Service acknowledges it's struggling to hire firefighters all over the country. In early April, the agency said it had only signed on 76% of its total goal of crews for the summer.
Every 3 to 5 feet.
Miller understands better than anyone why those numbers are low.
Why did you ultimately end up leaving?
The hardships of the job started to outweigh the fun.
Hardships, like the physical demand.
I've had about 10 surgeries in the last 2 decades.
The emotional toll.
That crew that you're working with sort of becomes your family, and it's really tough to keep that family plus your family at home.
And then there's the money.
If I didn't put in any overtime, I think my base pay would have been about $28,000 a year.
Pay is a big problem.
Timo Rova is also a retired wildland firefighter and a teaching assistant in Miller's class.
After we get some black here. My son's a smoke jumper in Missoula right now, and he can barely afford to pay rent.
The result? Firefighters are walking away from the job and are leaving gaps in the system. In 2023, data showed 1 in 4 requests for crews to fight active wildfires in the U.S. went unfilled.
What does that mean for a fire that starts in Minnesota this summer?
If we have wildfires in Minnesota and in Arizona and in California and in Colorado, and we're all hot and dry and droughty, then we're just going to be very short-staffed.
Miller says fewer crews will be working longer hours beyond their capacity in an already dangerous job.
Mistakes are going to be made, and firefighters are likely going to pay the price for that.